Yo, what's up guys? This is MidnightWabbit. Welcome back to some more Borderlands 3. And today what I have for you guys is a build guide for Flak. I'm going to be doing a build for all the characters this time around with a level 60. I've been thinking about doing it for a long time, just never really got around to doing it. But I'm going to try to do a build guide for all the characters this time around. Starting with Flak, because he was the first character I played, and so this is my original Flak game save. I will be including a save file in the description if you guys want any of the weapons, or you just want, you don't have a Flak, you want to try them out, although, whatever it may be. There is a game save in the description if you guys want to download that. Feel free. And let's get right into the build. So you can pretty much use any weapons you want with this build. It's pretty open. Obviously, I mean, like certain Jacob's weapons and stuff, like high damage weapons are going to be the best because we're going for a crit build here. But basically, all right. So let's go into the skill tree first, and then we'll cover the weapons. So starting with the orange tree, I feel like this is the most important for Flak. It's a pretty standard Flak build, but let's go over it anyway. Interplanetary Stalker. You want to put 5 points into that. That's just the, it's a damage buff. You get robot bonus, human action skill bonus against humans, and then you get its damage stack, which is nice. Hunter's Eye, I put 5 points into that for your critical hit damage versus humans, 30% armor damage, which is a lot versus robots, and then damage reduction versus beasts, which I don't notice too much, but these two skills right here are very important. Leave no trace and head count. Leave no trace. When you score a critical hit, there's a chance for 1 ammo to be added to your magazine. So we want that maxed out. We want all 3 points into that and all 3 points into head count. Because every time you score a critical hit, there's a chance their action skill cooldown is reduced. Now, I believe right now this does not work with Rack Attack. It will work with Fadeaway though. So this build will work with either Rack Attack or Fadeaway. So this skill, just note, if you are using Rack Attack, this skill will not reduce the cooldown. But Rack Attack does have 2 charges, and it is a very quick cooldown anyway, so it's not really that big. You can pretty much spam this. It's not really an issue. But I just leave head count on for when I decide to switch to Fadeaway for bossing, or like the takedown or something like that. I do put 2 points into 5 points into Two Fang. So basically, how this works in this game is you have a chance to fire an extra projectile per shot. It doesn't just spam, like I believe in Borderlands 1 it would just on Two Fang on 0, Borderlands 2, sorry. Two Fang on 0, you would fire 2 shots really quickly instead of like when you from 1 trigger pull you would fire 2 shots. But in this game, let's see if I can get it to proc. So there's 1 shot. Alright. 1 shot, and wait for my shield to recharge so you can see it better. So basically what Two Fang does in this game is it just fires an extra projectile. So on single pellet weapons, this is really good. There we go. Got a 2. But on a weapon like the Stagecoach, obviously, it has 25 pellets. Going to 26 is not really going to be that much of a difference. But for certain single pellet weapons, complex root, stuff like that, the ion cannon could get an extra projectile. That could be really strong. And it doesn't cost any extra ammo, which is nice. So I just do that in case, because there's certain high damage single pellet weapons that we do use for this build that would be really nice to have that 25% chance for an extra projectile. Most dangerous game, you get gun damage, crit damage, handling I don't notice too much, but pet damage, and it lasts for 2 minutes. So that's really nice. Every time you kill a badass or stronger enemy. Or if you're using the Bounty Hunter class mod, you can proc it just off of gun damage, which is pretty cool. Hunter skills become more effective and have a longer duration, so 100% duration and 30% skill effect, so that's good. So that'll boost. 100% duration means this lasts for 4 minutes, which is absolutely insane. We got Galactic Shadow. Flak deals increased critical hit damage, and enemies are less likely to attack them. So 15% critical hit damage is the main reason we're doing that, just a flat 15% bonus. And then Megavore. This is arguably the most important Flak skill. This, in my opinion. So Flak gains a chance to score a critical hit with weapons against any part of enemies. It's a 20% chance. So, like, if you were to... Let's go to the jack cutout real quick. Okay. So, 83k. So, yeah. There you go. There's a crit right on his crotch. So, yeah. Megavore is a really nice skill to have, especially with like rocket launchers, stuff like that that can't normally necessarily crit for certain rocket launchers, stuff like that. So pretty much anything in the game can crit, which is nice. Let's see. The green tree. We got Furious Attack. So for each stack, you get handling and gun damage, so which is nice. 10 stacks is 20% gun damage, and you get pet damage as well. And we're putting 3 points into self-repairing systems. We regenerate health and get maximum health increase. Just a little bit of survivability because Flak is kind of squishy. We put 3 points in there to move down the tree. I put 5 into Eager to Impress. So whenever I kill an enemy, my action skill cooldown time is reduced, which is nice. This will stack with, what's it called? Is it head count? Yeah, head count. This will stack with head count, which is nice. And the pet kill cooldown time is reduced as well. I didn't spec into Overclocked. I don't find the fire rate bonus that noticeable. Like I mean, I guess after you reload the 20%, it could be noticeable on certain weapons, but just in general, I don't find it that useful. I did spec into Lick the Wounds because if you're doing... So when you're in fight for your life, your pet will attempt to revive you. And if it does, it gains a damage bonus of 30% for 60 seconds. With the damage bonus is nice, but just obviously if you're doing the takedown and you're trying to solo like some difficult content or something like that, the takedown, any of the slaughter shafts, something like that, on Mayhem 10, and like I said, Flak is kind of squishy. This kind of just helps a little bit more with survivability. So he can revive you if you're playing solo. It's nice to have your pet be able to revive you. While you're moving, you generate health and gain damage reduction, and while you're still, you gain gun damage and fire rate. So that's good. It's good if you're standing still for like a boss like Grave Ward or Trant that doesn't really have a lot of enemies around. You can just stand still, get that bonus damage and fire rate, and just mow them down. Hidden Machine. When an enemy has no target or is attacking a different target, Flak deals increased damage by 30%. Now this is nice if you're using Fadeaway because an enemy will not be targeting you because you'll be invisible. So you'll deal 30% increased damage, which is good. Fast and the Furious. 42% gun damage while above half health and movement speed increase as well as pet damage, which is nice. Got some points from our class mod in that. And then power inside, Flak and the pet gain increased damage. And if you're at full health, the damage is doubled when you activate an action skill. Sorry, I meant to say that. We did put 3 points in the blue tree. We had 3 points left over to increase gun damage and action skill duration for Persistence Hunter. And I got some points from the class mod. They got a good class mod here that gives us a little bit more gun damage as well there without having to spec into it. So let's talk about the weapons. And unfortunately, guys, like I said, sorry, this is going to be kind of a longer video. But if you guys are interested in this, definitely be sure to leave a like and let me know if you want to see more build guides and stuff like that. Because I'm definitely excited to bring some stuff like this to you guys. Let's talk about the weapons. We got some good ones here. Stagecoach. I don't know if consecutive hits is that great on the Stagecoach. I don't know how. I guess it could be good because if you hit all 25 pellets, you get a 25% damage bonus for each shot. So I guess, yeah, that is pretty good. Now more I think about it. But you can get like action skill end damage here. Next to mag, stuff like that. Could be good. This is a really strong weapon. This is what I use for stacking damage. And even just dealing damage in general. This thing is really strong. You can even use it for bossing. Taking out tanky miles, whatever. The Quick Draw. Now this thing is cool. It's a new gun from DLC 3. This thing is the quest. It's from a quest. It's a quest reward from. It's called, I think, the Quick and the Quickerer or something like that, in the town of Vestige. And what it does is, so I'll read the weapon card to you guys. It instantly reloads and buffs the damage for a short duration upon swapping weapons. It's a Jacob's pistol. Very, very slow reload speed, as you can see here. Very slow reload speed for a Jacob's pistol. So it's actually faster to swap weapons and swap back. It has instantly readies when you swap weapons. And it's reloaded and has a damage buff, which is really nice. So this is a pretty good gun for Flak. I like it a lot. Complex Root. This thing is really cool. I made a video on this thing, where to get it and everything. It's in the new DLC weapon as well. It's like the Flacker, but in sniper form. It's a 2-round burst. Pretty cool. Comes in all the elements. It's a Malawon, so it'll always come in 2 elements. This one's fire and radiation, and I think I have one in the build that is shock and corrosive, which kind of covers almost everything. some cool stuff. The ion cannon. Okay, so let's first. The ion cannon has a cool interaction, or just rocket launchers in general. Pretty much everything, actually. So we've got our one-shotter shield here. We've got. I do have some other shields. I got some transformers. I have a front loader in case you have anything like this that has under 50% health, deal 150% bonus radiation damage. If you got a lot of these type of weapons, you can use the front loader to make sure you're always below 50% health. Those anointments will proc all the time. Now, if you're using fadeaway, I would use the stack bot most of the time. Stackbot is a DLC 1 class item. So if you don't have any DLC, there's some other good options in here. We got the Bounty Hunter is probably the next best bet. The Cosmic Stalker is really good, increasing your hunter skill power. And then Deadeye is nice for bossing sometimes. But I find the Bounty Hunter is probably the best if you don't have DLC. If you do have the DLC, I would use the Stackbot if you're using Fadeaway. If you're not using Fadeaway, the Stackbot's not really going to do much good. So let's read it. So when the flak scores a critical hit, they gain increased weapon damage until they don't score a critical hit. This affects stacks. Now, what it doesn't say on here is that it gives you 5% per stack, and it stacks up to 100 times. Meaning you will get 500% weapon damage if at full stacks. Now, this is almost impossible to stack that many without hitting a body shot. But I guess technically it is possible if you spam fadeaway. But either way, you can still get a lot of stacks out of this. So what I like to do, let's put this combined with the Pearl of Knowledge, which is a DLC2 artifact that will consecutive hits grant 1% increased damage up to 15 times. And if you're at 15 stacks, you get an additional 90% damage for 105% gun damage. Those stacks will stack with the stack bot. That was a lot of use of the word stack, I know, but hear me out. So if we put on the Pearl, 2 million, 3 million, and then we get our action skill end on the what's it called? When we break fadeaway. Now the cool thing about this, so let's take a look at the ion cannon. The ion cannon is probably the highest single shot damage weapon in the game. I don't think anything's going to come close to this. This is a DLC 1 rocket launcher, and the cool thing about this is I do have a video of it on my channel. You can check it out of where to get this thing, but it's a guaranteed drop from the boss that it drops from in the first DLC. So this thing, you will always get one of these every time you kill that boss. So it's pretty easy to farm for the annoyance that you want. Now this one's really good. So on action skill and splash damage increased by 200%, and it's a ×2. So you see 125,000 ×2. That's just on the weapon card. Plus the 200% splash damage bonus on action skill end. And then we got, unfortunately this does consume 7 ammo per shot for the ×2, but even the ×1 consumes 6 ammo per shot. So it's really, the ×2 is definitely worth it. Because if you're already consuming that much ammo, you might as well just go for the ×2 and have twice as much damage for 1 more ammo. So we've got our stack bot and the Pearl on. Now, what I'm going to do here, actually, wait a minute, I messed up. Let me get my, you can also use this stagecoach to get your fadeaway back real quick with head count. So like, let's say I use fadeaway, and then every time you score a critical hit, you can see right there, boom, head count, and fadeaway is back already. So what we're going to do here, we're going to charge up the iron cannon. The iron cannon does have charge time, pretty long charge time, but it does a lot of damage. It will hit crits. So 12 million there. Okay. 12 million. So now, we're going to make sure we hit every single crit. Now, if you're in fadeaway, obviously everything counts as a crit, so it will stack for the stack bot. So now we got those two. Now what we're going to do is on our last shot of fadeaway, we're going to charge up the ion cannon, break it to get our action skill end annoyance. And as you can see right there, it does a lot more damage. I'm going to do it again to see if I can, I'm going to pause it so you can see exactly how much damage it does. So make sure we barrel stuff him. Let's charge this up all the way. Photo mode. Where is it? Damage numbers show. There we go. Alright. Kind of hard to see. They're a little bit... they're a little bit... I mean, it's well over 100 million. But it's kind of hard to see the numbers, but... because there's so many numbers overlapping. Let's look at some other... That's a cool interaction you can do. For bossing, this thing will one-shot almost everything in the game. And then, if you use that combo. And then for mobbing, you can do the same thing, but throw on the nukem. So, you can... it won't do as much damage, but it has a much bigger radius. So you can do that, and then just yeet the nukem. And that'll pretty much take out most trash mobs in a large radius with the crit. You can do the same thing with that, and then just throw on the ion cannon again if you're using it for a boss. I usually keep on the one-shotter shield with this build. There's certain bosses, maybe if you're farming kilovolt or something like that, you can use a transformer, or if you're having trouble staying alive, the shock damage with the shock, and like a lot of shock damage enemies around or something like that, you can throw one of these on. I do have a couple transformers in here. The reflux is really good. It's like the brainstormer, but it's a corrosive version, so it will chain corrosive damage between enemies, and that corrosive damage does a lot. Those chains. The Seventh Sense. This thing is cool. So this is a mission reward from DLC 2, and up until this point, this thing has not been able to be obtained at an AM10 level because it was a quest reward. Well, now it can because they fixed that. So this thing actually does a lot of damage at Man 10. So I'm going to show you guys what it does. So it shoots like these little darts. They every time you get a critical hit, you get 3 of them, and every time you get a body shot, you get 1 of them. So basically, I'm going to spam this, and then when you reload, all the darts track the enemy that you shot. So you spam it like critical hits, and then they all just go back, and those things can crit again with Megavore. So just spam critical hits with this thing. And then all the darts will track the original target. This thing is really cool. It's pretty good for bossing. I really like it a lot. It's pretty fun. We got some flippers. These things are pretty good from the new DLC. It's like kind of like a Sandhawk from Borderlands 2. Basically what it does is it shoots 1 pellet, then splits into 3, then 5, 7, and then finally 9 for the cost of 1 ammo. So this thing is going to be doing a lot of just sustained damage over time. The Malawans, it will come with multiple elements. I got corrosive and fire, and then I got radiation and shock on this one. Now the Monarchs obviously are really, really good. These are very, very strong weapons. I got a shock and a corrosive one. I don't have a fire one right now that is level 60, so I do have a 57 one, but I didn't include it with the build because it's a couple levels under. But these are obviously still very strong weapons. Got a Maggie here if you want to use that. The Gargoyle is very strong. I made a weapon guide on that yesterday. This thing is very, very strong as well in terms of splash damage. The Bloom is pretty good. It's pretty fun to use. It's like a burst fire Jacob's pistol from the final boss of DLC 3. We got the Dakota. Now this is interesting. This thing, you see right there, it shoots out, has a chance to shoot out fire or shock rounds that do a lot of damage. You can see right there that's doing quite a bit of damage. With those fire and shock ones, periodically will shoot out, do a lot more damage than the base gun. So this thing is pretty strong as well, and you can kind of spam it. It's actually full auto. You can actually hold down the trigger, which is pretty cool. So this is the final reward for the storyline of DLC 3. So that's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. We got some back burners. I don't use these too much because there is a, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's intended, but the back burner actually does friendly fire damage. So if you're playing multiplayer, you can, I've downed teammates with my friends before with this thing, and also you can down your pet with it. It does a lot of damage for like bossing and stuff, and on a character like where the pet's not quite as important, I would use this, but I did include them in case you guys want to try it out, but I don't think it's really worth it on Flak, just because of the friendly fire damage. Actually, that's one thing I didn't cover is the pet. The Spider Ant Scorcher, so you get elemental damage and health regeneration. This thing is really nice. This is the pet I always use. It's your faithful companion. Mine's name is Henry, but you can name yours whatever you want. Alright, let's see what else we got. I think that's about covers it. We got a couple good snipers here. I do have a level 60 version of the Wedding Invitation. There's plenty of guides online on how to get that. And then the Unseen Threat. Now this thing is kind of cool. it will, it's like the King's and Queen's Call, but it's a sniper. If you get a critical hit, it shoots out these little rockets. Which is pretty cool. And they track the original target or anything nearby. Got some other complex routes here to cover, like I said, most of the elements. And then the Krakatoa, Malawan Sniper's got a buff a while back, so this thing, in terms of sustained damage, you can see right there I'm getting like in the millions already. This thing does a lot of damage, has very good ammo economy for a sniper, and it does a lot. It has a high damage, just base damage, and then on the weapon card, and it does good fire rate. It's just all around a pretty solid weapon for melting bosses. It only comes in fire element, but if it's something like Grave Ward, you can use that pretty effectively. So anyway, and then I got these Hunter Seeker grenades. Now these can actually proc head count. Yeah, these can proc head count, and I think leave no trace as well, because these count as gun damage when they shoot. These grenades split in flight and they shoot. They count as gun damage. So I got a corrosive shock, incendiary, and radiation, all the elements that you'll need there. And like I said, I usually just stick with the one-shotter shield, but you can use the transformer if you're having trouble staying alive. And I have radiation on both of those, so I keep radiation on that, and then I'll switch to whatever corrosive shock or fire I need on the grenade. That's usually how I do it, but it's up to you guys. And like I said, there's a lot of other weapons I didn't include with the build that do work really well with this build. These are just what I think are the best of the best, but there's a lot of other weapons out there that you can use with this build. Don't feel limited if you want to try other stuff. This is a very strong build. Anything that does good damage or good crit damage will work very well with this build. The Sandhawk, I don't actually have a level 60 version of the Sandhawk. That would be insane with this build for melting bosses. Unfortunately, I have to farm for a level 60 version of the Sandhawk. Probably do that before I do my Moe's build, because she makes really good use of that as well. Alright, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe if you have not already for more Borderlands content. I know it was kind of a longer video. There's just a lot to talk about with this build and stuff. There's just so many different weapons that work with it and stuff. But I'll try to keep it as short as we can. So I'm not going to show any really gameplay just for the sake of time, besides what we saw at the beginning of the video. And I am going to kill the final boss of DLC 3 real quick. So if you guys don't want to see that, you don't want to see spoilers, definitely click off the video right now. But hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later. Alright, Ruiner. Yeah. There we go. Alright, well, we got another bloom. Alright, well, if you guys stayed this far, I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe if you have not already for more Borderlands content. Like I said, hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'm definitely going to be bringing build videos to the other characters, because I really enjoyed farming for and making this, getting all the gear and stuff. So hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later with another video. Peace.